These suburban Otakara Ichiban shops are where the city center margins go to hide. I'm out here in Komaki checking the shelves for the inventory the staff hasn't repriced in months. This place often price high, but slip up on specific collector's editions. The shelves are packed, which usually means they're pricing at the top of the market, but let's see if we can find the margins they missed. Starting strong with N64 controllers in the box. 12,800 yen? That's about 85 bucks. Okay, so they know what they have. That's basically eBay market price without the shipping hassle. Not a great start for margins. The loose cart wall. This is volume seller territory. You grab a stack of essential N64 titles, bundle them, and let the nostalgia buyers do the rest. Super Famicom boxes hanging by plastic tabs always gives me anxiety, but the artwork on these sells them better than the gameplay ever could. Collectors eat up that box art. Boxed Vitas. 15,000 yen is roughly 100 bucks. Since Vitas are region-free, these are actually an easy flip if you find the right color variations. The screens on these Japanese units are usually pristine. That rose-pink PSP right there, 12,000 yen? That's under $85. A boxed pink unit in the US is an easy 140. That's a buy. A boxed Hyperboy for 29,800 yen? Now that is weird. Obscure accessories like this are pure bait for hardcore collectors who already own every game. It turns the Gameboy into a tabletop arcade. Would you tie up $200 in a slow-moving display piece like this? Or do you prefer the high-velocity cartridges? Boxed Famicom titles in the case, including Super Xevious at 12,800 yen. These glass-cased items are usually priced closer to market value, so the hidden gem factor is lower here. However, the condition in these shops is usually superior to what you'll find in the bulk bins at Hardoff. Pokémon Emerald for 11,800 yen, which is roughly $78. Given that English copies are reaching absurd prices, the Japanese versions remain a steady entry point for collectors. Pokémon Gold at 9,800 yen is standard for a shop like this, but keep an eye on the box corners. Castlevania Circle of the Moon for 16,800 yen seems aggressive, but look at that Mother 3 box. It never got a US release, so the import demand is permanent. Kunio-kun Collection for 45 bucks is solid. Do you guys mess with Japanese exclusives, or do you stick to titles people actually recognize back home? Loose Game Boy Advance carts behind glass? That's annoying. Usually you want to flip through these in a bin. If they're locking up loose carts, they think they're sitting on gold. Circling back to those Pokemon boxes, at 9,800 for gold and 5,980 for pinball, these are solid shelf fillers. The Japanese box art for pinball is significantly better than the international version, which actually helps with the crossover appeal for collectors. Now we're looking at some heavy hitters. Batman Returns at 29,800 and EVO Search for Eden at 54,800 yen. EVO is a $360 investment here, but the US SNES version is a 4-figure game. If the manual is mint, there's a massive gap to exploit there. The Junkbins, 300 yen for Neon Genesis Evangelion Saturn games. These are essentially coasters at this point. High supply and very low international demand. I usually skip these unless I need to pad out a shipping box to hit a specific weight bracket. Digging through the 100 to 500 yen bins. Gran Turismo for 500 yen is a classic filler item. You aren't making much, but it's a guaranteed sale. Hanging wall of boxed Super Famicom games, Crayon Shinchan, and various RPGs. Japanese heavy RPGs are tough flips due to the text, but the box art makes them great display pieces. They usually move slow, so don't go heavy on these unless the price is bottom tier. Super Mario P-Cross at 1,980 yen. This is a sleeper. It's language independent and highly addictive. I grab these every time I see them under 2,000 yen because they sell consistently for $35 to $40 without much effort. Panning the store layout. You have to scan the top shelves and the floor bins in these suburban branches. The pixel art decor is nice for the atmosphere, but the real money is in the inventory management, or lack thereof, on the higher shelves. This is the Holy Grail cabinet. Wild Guns at 128,000 yen, or about $850. It's expensive, but the US version is legendary for its price. Ghost Chaser Densei at the same price is equally rare. Would you pull the trigger on a $1,000 flip like this, or is the risk of a condition dispute on eBay too high for you? Wall of loose Famicom cartridges. Super Mario Bros. 3 for 980 yen, 6 bucks. Honestly, that feels inflated for a loose Japanese copy. Usually you can pull these out of 100 yen bins in some thrift shops. Loose N64 cartridges in hanging bags. Mario Kart, Smash, and Mario Party for 1,200 to 1,500 yen. This is the bread and butter. These are reliable $25 to $30 sales in the US. If you buy 10 of these, you've more than paid for your transit and lunch for the day. One Piece and Naruto cards for 150 yen. These are add-on items. They won't pay the rent, but for $1, they make excellent bonuses for repeat customers or bundle fillers. Mario Tennis at 980 is a fair price for a clean label and a steady mover. PC FX at 59,800 yen. That's a niche collector's dream. The library is almost entirely anime-style FMV games, so the market is very specific. The mini arcade machine at 1,980 is a fun impulse buy, but the shipping weight will likely eat any potential profit. Boxed Super Tetris 2 and Star Fox. The Japanese Star Fox art box is iconic compared to the Western release. These usually sit around 2,000 to 3,000 yen and move slowly. They're stable assets, but not something you buy for a quick flip. Neo Geo Mini at 7,980 yen. These were overproduced, so the secondary market is pretty flat right now. The Mario Game & Watch at 4,800 is basically retail price. I'd leave that for a local collector who just wants it for their shelf. Evangelion Nintendo DS Lite at 7,800 yen. That is worth a look. Limited edition handhelds usually carry a strong premium. If the screen has no yellowing and the hinges are tight, that's a very solid pickup. Do you find EVA gear still moves as fast as it used to, or has the hype finally peaked? Dragon Quest Liquid Metal Slime 2DS at 36,800 yen, roughly $245. This is a beautiful console. Boxed and mint, these can push $350 to $400. The green and black model at 25,000 is a safer, more standard flip with a predictable margin. Loose Monster Hunter 3DS LL at 29,800 yen. Loose consoles are harder to move at a premium, especially since the 3DS eShop closure changed the market. I'd personally hold out for boxed units if I'm spending over 25,000 yen on a handheld. Dreamcast, limited editions, and Neo Geo Pocket Color consoles. Seeing several boxed units in one case is a good sign for this shop's stock levels. These are the kinds of items that make the train fare out to Komaki worthwhile for a professional sourcer. This Otakara branch is a solid stop for high-end Super Famicom or clean handhelds. Would you prioritize those high-margin Super Famicom Grails like Wild Guns, or are you sticking to the high-volume N64 carts we saw earlier? Let me know your strategy. But if you're into more than just games, hit that subscribe button right now. In part 2, we're digging into the other side of the store for vintage toys, Tamagotchis, and Pokemon cards. Drop a like if you're ready for the next round.